Dream Reapers, Chapter 1, Nightmare Night. But doctor, it's real, I know what I saw! It was in my room! I have proof this time! I have enough! This will be the last time you come to me, saying you got attacked in your sleep or almost died! And it's true! I woke up with claw marks on my chest! I don't want to hear it anymore! The doctor slammed the door right in front of Monty's eyes. It was the last person Monty felt he could go to. For the last 2 months, ever since the car accident, strange dreams haunted him every night. It started when he woke up in the hospital bed. All the doctors could determine was that he sustained mild brain damage from the crash. Nothing more, nothing less. Maybe that was why, because of a concussion. But why could he feel every touch? How could everything seem so real? When Monty returned home and sat behind his desk, nothing seemed right to him. Everything felt weird and surreal. Since he returned from the hospital, his memories were gone, and as more days went by, the more scared he got they might never return. The only thing he could do was to continue writing down in his journal what came to him in his dreams. After all, some believe that dreams, even nightmares, have meaning to them. Maybe his memories were trapped inside his head, locked away, only to open up during his sleep. He put his pen down on the paper and wrote. May 3rd, the first dream. I was awake, sitting on my bed. Nothing weird at all. Things suddenly got creepy when a voice started calling for me. I stepped out of my room and started looking for where the voice was coming from. When I entered my parents' room, I felt a cold breeze. Shivers ran down my spine. I wasn't sure it was from the cold air or the lack of sleep. And then I saw it. The balcony door was open. At that moment, I heard the voice calling again. Monty, come to me. It sounded like a whisper, carried by the wind. I made my way to the balcony, but when I got there, I saw nothing. Nobody, just darkness. I walked to the edge to see if someone was standing in the backyard. When I leaned over to see what was down there, someone pushed me and I fell from the balcony. I seemingly fell over. My house appeared to have grown several kilometers tall. When I finally touched the ground, I woke up. May 3rd, second dream. I awoke in a forest. It was dark, and when I looked up at the sky, I saw the stars above me. I couldn't see the tops of the trees. It made me feel tiny, like some kind of prey animal. Slowly, I turned my head around, then my body. I opened up my eyes to see nothing but a silhouette of trees. A sense of relief rushed over me. I sighed and turned back when a drop of liquid dripped onto my shirt. At first I thought it was starting to rain, but when I looked up, there were no clouds at all. Something slimy had dropped onto my shoulder. I looked for the place where it might have come from. Above me, I saw a huge figure in the darkness, hiding within the treetops. I didn't know what it was, but my first instinct was to run and hide. I could hear the branches snap above me. It was like it was chasing me, using the trees as a path. When it jumped down, I could feel the ground shake and almost fell to the ground. At that moment, the beast took a jump and pinned me down to the ground. It lifted its paw, and I could only watch. When its claw came down, everything went black for a second. When its claws came down, everything went black for a second, and I woke up. Monty put down his pen and stared at the pages for a moment. He realized that these night terrors started to occur more and more often, and now even became more realistic. What if I already had these dreams before the accident? He thought to himself. If so, then why? What in the world could be wrong with me? The silence in the room was almost frightening. The darkness had taken over the light, and he sat there, all alone in the black void we call night. Monty stood up from his chair and switched on his lamp. While making his way downstairs, he noticed the clock on the wall. It was almost midnight. The boy let out a sigh. There was no way he would be able to sleep tonight. Not like this. Coffee it was. He decided that it was better to stay awake, even if that meant drinking a dozen of energy drinks. There was no way Monty wanted to sleep tonight. Anything was better than that. Monty woke up on the couch. Nothing happened tonight. Maybe it was normal again after all, and those dreams would finally leave him alone. His mother and father had already left for work. He realized that he would probably have to go to college as well and continue with his studies. The thing is, he didn't even know what he was studying for anymore. His mind felt like a mess. He is a mess. If he could just remember, then maybe this would be so much easier to handle. It gave Monty a feeling of loneliness, of not even knowing who he was, what his life used to look like, and who his friends were. With that feeling tightening his chest, tears began blurring his sight. "It's okay, buddy. You still have me." A kind voice suddenly spoke. Monty looked over to see a white cat with black ears, sitting next to him on the couch. I must have gone mad. There is no other explanation other than that, he thought. Slowly, Monty stood up and walked backwards to leave. No need to be scared. I am here to help, the cat said as it licked its paws. Help with what? Monty asked the cat. With nightmares, of course. It stared at him with its piercing blue eyes. He had never seen eyes of that color before. At least, not that he could remember. Was it even possible for eyes to shine so bright like a pair of gemstones? The longer he looked at them, the more he felt like he could drown in the cat's eyes. They were beautiful, perfect even. But how can you... He paused there mid-sentence before he was cut off by the furry creature in front of him. It will be morning soon. There's not much time, said the cat. What are you talking about? Monty replied. She will be back for you tomorrow night. I'll come as fast as I can to help you, the cat said, as it stood up and turned its back to the boy. Who is she? He asked. The cat gave him one last look and answered. Beware, Monty. Beware. The cat's face began to run, like it was made out of wax. Drips of white and black covered the couch. When looking around, the cat was not the only thing that seemed to melt. The whole room turned into goo. All colors blended like one and became this awful looking brown. At that moment, Monty felt like that wasn't the only thing happening. He was sinking away in all the liquid substance that oozed from the walls. And from himself? He screamed for help. It was not just the things around him. It was himself who turned to goo. He felt helpless as he saw that one of his eyeballs left his eye socket and joined the cat, whose skull was floating on the liquid. Monty woke up, screaming on the couch, covered in sweat. It took him a second to realize what happened. At the thought, he started to laugh hysterically. It was just a dream. What else could it have been? I am so stupid. These things can't be real. They couldn't be. Right? His laughing broke down into crying. Monty threw his blanket across the room out of anger and despair. There was no way things would just turn back to normal. He was about to kick the coffee table when a piece of paper caught his eye. He was barely able to reach it from the couch. His mother had written a note stating that she would be back early in the afternoon. The two of them would have dinner together and maybe watch a movie. Monty thought it'd be nice that she wanted to spend more time with him after what happened. His father, on the other hand, had to work late. Monty respected him for that, though. Thankfully, enough time had passed to calm down. Monty spent his time alone in the house, going from room to room, opening boxes, cabinets, trying to see if anything felt remotely familiar to him. Nothing rang the bell. He started wondering to himself why he hadn't found any picture books by now. Why were there no pictures of him around the house? If this was his family, that would be only a natural thing to have, right? And at that very moment, the sound of a key was heard from downstairs. His mother had returned. "Monty, I'm home!" she called out. For an odd reason, Monty became scared to go downstairs and face her. It was already odd enough that nothing felt right in the house. So, what was the chance of him being stuck in another nightmare? He slowly made his way downstairs, trying not to make a single sound on the staircase. Monty cringed as a stair let out a resounding creak. "There you are! I was getting worried." Her face came from behind the door that led to the living room. Monty jumped a bit, as he was expecting to see his mother with a bug for her hat. Or worse, none at all. She looked at him a little confused. "Are you alright? Did I make you jump?" He took a deep breath. "Yeah, I'm fine. Sorry about that." She tilted her head to the side. "No need to be sorry. You did nothing wrong." She gave him a smile before walking off into the room. The evening sped by as they spent the time in silence. Monty knew that his mother was trying as hard as she could, and it became just as frustrating to her as it was for him. "Pizza should be here any minute now. Do you remember how to turn on the movie?" she asked, as she came walking back from the kitchen with a glass of wine. "I think I got it," he said, smiling back. After a few clicks with the remote, the title screen finally popped up. "This was the one you mentioned last week, right, Mom?" She nodded. "The three of us went to the cinema to see it. I remember how happy you were when we did. It was all you could talk about for the rest of the week." She wanted to continue, but the bell rang and cut her off. The two continued their evening on the couch with pizza and watching a movie. Somewhere in between, she mentioned how much he used to like it, and that it was one of his favorites. But watching this movie felt like seeing it for the first time. It was weird. But maybe in a nice way? Reliving a moment. Yeah, it was nice indeed. Sadly, his mother had hoped to bring back some good memories by watching it. But that did not happen. Monty felt a bit useless, but only time can tell. Maybe tomorrow will bring a new chance. There will be a new day of trying to regain what is rightfully his, or what used to be his. Night fell, and it was time to go to bed. Monty changed into his pajamas and walked to his room when he noticed a strange man sitting on the edge of his bed. Not again, he thought. Fear not, my friend. I've spoken to you in your dreams before, and I'm here to help you. Monty was dumbfounded. There was no way. This was reality. He decided to try a different approach this time. If he couldn't get rid of these nightmares, maybe he should learn to stop fearing them. He was willing to try anything now. At this point, he'd just about given up. Why the hell would I believe anything you say? The man stood up. He was a lot taller than Monty thought he'd be. Because I am the only one that can save you and get rid of these nightmares. Do you hear me, you brat? Monty turned around and opened the door that led to the balcony. Hey, what are you doing? The man yelled, trying his best to stay quiet. He knew fully well that there were more people living in this house, and right now there were 3 of them. I'm going to fly, answered Monty coldly. The man grabbed his arm and pulled him closer to meet his gaze. Only now did Monty see its color. They were blue. It was like staring into a pair of gems. Bright yet cold. In the darkness of his room, they almost seemed to glow. The cat had taken a different form. Do you have any idea what you're doing right now? This is not a nightmare. I am real, and you're going to listen to me. Do you understand? He demanded of the boy. Alright, so what if this is true? Then how do you expect me to believe that a human being could do anything to help me? I've tried. I've lost faith in humanity. He answered, yanking his arm back while not breaking the eye contact. Because I'm not human. The man finally spoke with a sigh. Monty froze for a second. This could not be real. Right. My name is Daron. I am a Dream Reaper. To be exact, I'm your Dream Reaper. Assigned to you and only you. To protect you and watch over you during the night period. In that regard, I've failed you. Which is why I must apologize. His eyes drooped down. There was sadness in them. Something Monty did not expect to see from the man. Questions ran through his head. Was this man the key to everything? Or was this just another dream? The man continued. My species live by feeding off human dreams to survive. And each of us is bonded with a human by their soul to do so. The troubles you've been experiencing have been caused by a female reaper stealing your dreams in order to feed her offspring, which is why you can't tell the difference between reality and nightmares. Nonsense. It all sounded like nonsense. Just something his brain made up. He knew fully well what the difference was between the dream world and the real world. No one had to tell him that. Just what they meant and how to get rid of them. The man's voice suddenly went back from being calm to irritated. And more importantly, if you jump off that balcony right now, it's not only you who's going to die. Monty looked him in the eyes and said, Too bad. I don't believe you. He walked away to the edge of the balcony. From here, Monty could see almost the whole neighborhood. He turned back to face the man and spread his arms. The man followed hastily, trying to stop the boy from falling to his death. In the moonlight, Monty could finally see his other features. No wonder why he couldn't in the first place. A perfect description of the man would be the night. Dark and mysterious, yet his eyes were like stars. Even now, they seemed to glow. "See you tomorrow night," Monty finally said. There was confidence in his voice. Maybe too much of it. "Monty, don't you dare!" Daron yelled. He ran towards the boy, trying to save him, but it was too late. As he leaned backwards, his feet had left the balcony. Thank you all so much for listening to tonight's story. Now I'd like to take a moment to thank all of my Patreons who helped make this channel possible. Thank you, Breaker19, for all your help and support. You guys are amazing.